Officially, good morning. Happy Tuesday. Welcome out to the Options Income Launchpad Tuesday opening bell. My name is Scott. I'll be your host. Okay. As always, let me remind you what we do is for illustrative and education purposes only. No information given, nothing should be intended or construed as a recommendation to buy or sell any security or financial product. We're not brokers, we're not advisors, therefore we don't give personalized financial advice. Decisions made should be done so at your own risk. Yada, yada, yada. You see the rest. All right. Good morning, Lee. What's our agenda? Opening futures and news. As always, we will take a look at the economic calendar, little peek at our market posture. We just went through it to get to this point. Mindset for open trades. Had a little southern dip on Google. Anyone shut theirs down? Let me know. We'll talk about the opening range. Go through the early week opportunity list, talk about the trading plan, and that should carry the day. Okay. Shut Google down, broke support. I kind of figured that's what we would start seeing. Okay. Let's keep going here. Small loss. Yeah, it wasn't bad. If you shut it down. Still holding, said, okay. Well, let's get into the rest of this. Futures are marginally down. Marginally down. Not too much. S&P down 0.09, just sort of dipped into that level. It was bullish prior to that. The Dow dipped to 0.1, the Nasdaq 0.18, Russell 0.25. VIX is pushing higher again, a little bit. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about that and what it means for us. Okay. What else? U.S. stock futures muted with Fed meeting on deck. The Fed will start meeting today and will announce tomorrow. You can see that's really about it for the news. We got an optimism index. Very small, minor report. Came back a little better than expected. Not much there. We do get job openings here at the top of the hour. We do get job openings coming. And that is supposed to come back flat, but it'll be interesting to see. If we stay above 7 million, if it starts to drop, that's when we would get concerned if we start to see that. Okay, let's keep looking. Yep, tomorrow FOMC is really all we have with the press conference. And then Thursday we get a little bit more. It's really kind of a light week. There's just not that much that's coming out this week at all. All right. And lastly, but not leastly, let's take a quick peek at our Fed. Where are we at? 90%. I don't know. I don't feel like there's any expectation right now of not getting the cut. I mean, it could be a surprise, and if we get that, then it's then the market's likely to react poorly, for sure. Okay. Let's jump in. Take a quick peek. If it's a majority vote, then it should be a done deal. That's my understanding. Let's take a quick peek at the futures. Here's the ES contracts. Now, you can see we paused, and now you can see a slight pullback candle forming. Our stochastics has turned over. It's the same thing on the SPY. Right? If you look at our technical analysis, we've hit this resistance again. We dropped down all the way to the 100. We broke the 50. We got down to the 100. And then we recovered all of it back up. And here we are. And so now, are we shocked if there's a little bit of a let's regather, regroup, and then come? No. No, I think that would actually be quite expected. That we may see that little pullback. That's kind of what we're waiting for right now. Okay, let's keep going here. There's the market open. The pullback will work with your... Okay. Now, real quickly. This was not a hedge signal in and of itself, but did anybody hedge when they saw this turn? Did anybody put that hedge on? That's a quick question before we get cracking here. Let me know if you did end up a hedge. Steven said yes. Okay. Fair. Okay, let's keep going here. Okay. Sorry, just had to check a quick position on the other chart. All right. let's hit the watch list and let's just see what is potentially. Now, again, this is definitely a low to high switch. Whatever we hit here, if we don't get much higher than this, and then this rolls over, well, that's a lower high. And that'll definitely increase our score again. Even if it were to get up to this level here, we actually never scored. So we did score this as a lower high. That got scored. That's been accounted for. But this last week, I did not give it a double, which means this never got scored. We've never actually scored. So we'd like to see it roll either way. But even if we jumped back up to 20, kind of back to this level, this is still a lower. This never got scored as a lower high. Yet it is. And so that's definitely something that would impact the score, the VIX score, and make it stronger. Okay. Any questions, comments, or concerns about anything that we haven't discussed about market context before we dive into the list? Anything that you are wanting to talk about that we haven't talked about, that we need to talk about, let me know. How's everybody feeling about the markets right now, their trading right now? What are the concerns? What are your biggest concerns in this market right now? You guys are quiet today. There've got to be some concerns. Let's put them out on the table. There's some choppiness. Agreed. There's definitely some chop. Anything else? Anyone else want to address it? Day trade SPY, not good trading, uncertain. How long can we hold WBD before time decay becomes a problem? Yeah, I think it's less about if time decay is a problem, more about if it looks like we're not getting any more upward momentum. You've got this week, no problem. And it's Tuesday. If this thing starts to drop back down, then I would be a little bit more concerned. If it, we got this boost from the news. Yeah. Bounced around a pivot most of yesterday. Okay, didn't get through it. Lots of sideways. Wondering if the market needs more full data from government shutdown. That's a good question. I agree with that. I like it. You guys are voicing good concerns. And Melody says the concern is that there won't be a Santa rally. Yeah, we've had, a marginal amount of a rally, but nothing that we would say constitutes an actual Santa rally, that's for sure. Yeah. Okay. I think that we're definitely waiting on the FOMC. And that's definitely making things go sideways. Yes. Right. And that means that today may not be the day that we actually get some kind of a push in momentum because it's, still waiting for that same Fed information to come, unfortunately. So, yeah. Okay. Okay. Let's hit the watch list. David Wilson says, you don't even expect to do day trading today. Okay. Okay. That's fair. That is fair. All right, let's get the watch list cracking here. Start at the top. And then you see things like this. This Apple setup is stabilizing, trying to turn, trying to pinch. I think a trade could be developing here on Apple. Looks very close. Thoughts on Apple? We've been waiting for this one. We had we talked about a trade on this one recently. Who's looking at this? Who's considering taking this? Let me know. Okay, Stephen D said, I don't know who watched the right stuff on Newsmax 11. There's one person on the panel who says all the job losses are not being replaced. This is contrary to September, which tells us missing data is important. Yeah, no, I do think the missing data is important. I do agree with that and think that missing data is quite important, actually. Yeah. I heard only half the people in our country are working if you count everyone, children and retirees. Huh. Well, I think it's that I don't know about. There could be something to that. Probably true, he says. Yeah. Okay, let's get to the list. AMKR, overextended. Let me get rid of these lines. Amazon, close. Amazon is very close to a setup and a signal here. Okay, let's keep looking. That's two on the list that are starting to set up. So basically, as we think about this current consolidation action, when this turns, and we're convinced the market's starting to move again, we've got a couple already. And those are big ones, Apple and Amazon, that are potentially on our list. So I would say, yeah, there's definitely something there for us. APH is a no. I'm gonna really look to develop a short list. Apple's on that list. Amazon is on that list. These are things that are looking to be tradable in the next little bit. Okay. ASX, overextended, nothing there. AVGO, earnings, not much we can do with that one anyways. Okay. AXP. Okay, so AXP, I think we can put on the list. AXP dropped down, got to the 100. Almost made the V, little hiccup, then finished the V. So it was a choppy V, but it still got to the V. Now it's pulling back. Anything in this venue viable. AXP on my list. And I know there's people who are trading these. BAC. I think BAC is the same. It's a matter of deciding. It's a matter of deciding which financial you might be interested in. Okay. Citigroup. I think you could put Citi there. I might put Citi and Morgan and Goldman in a slightly different category. They're a little bit more extended. We'll see. Okay, both AXP and BAC. Okay. Caterpillar. Caterpillar is on the list, looking for a pullback. Absolutely. Now we've seen technology with Apple. We've seen discretionary with Amazon. We've seen financial with AXP. And we've seen industrials with Caterpillar. And that is just in the C's. Okay. Okay. CIEN. We've got earnings coming up here in a day or so. CLS, no. Coherent, overextended, not even starting a pullback yet. So you can see some of these we're just not doing here, right? Okay, let's keep going. Credo in a pullback. Definitely setting something up potentially for us as long as it doesn't start going too much, right? Okay, let's keep going. Cisco. Cisco is pausing potentially. What would you take a look at the? I don't think we got 81. We haven't hit any new levels. You can see that the stochastics is actually starting to roll. It's just a pause here. It may not be enough that you take profit, but you definitely could be moving stops and tightening stops. Yeah. We're keeping an eye on this one. Has anybody closed any of the Cisco or still in, still holding, still looking for more? Okay, let's keep looking here. Okay. Close because stops tight. Oh, it closed because stops were too tight. Interesting. Got stopped on Friday even though the market never went down. Whoa. What did TOS say about that? That doesn't sound right. Interesting. Yeah, that doesn't make a lot of sense at all. That's a live trade. I would dispute. Yeah, I would put in a dispute. It seems like a trade dispute would be in order potentially. Okay, very interesting. Happened to you as well, Tony. DAL overextended, not enough pullback yet, but definitely one we're watching for a pullback on. Okay, DIA. The only way to make sure was to have a stock price as trigger. Yeah, I prefer to have conditional orders. Um, Interesting. But even the option price, unless it opened down like that, that's very, very interesting. Okay. Yeah, very good. Thanks for sharing with the group for sure. Very interesting. Okay. Does open or volume in the number of contracts mean more? Open interest. Open interest definitely is the more significant number for us because it's the cumulative look. So, all right. Prefer to be over 1,000 is exactly right. That's a great summary of what we're hoping to find and get. Fox still going up. First Solar setting up, looking quite strong today. Look at that stochastics turn. Candle looks good. Yeah, if you notice this one here, now we want to give it a little more time. Maybe we'll come back and even look at a little bit of a setup on here as what this trade could end up being. Okay. Good list so far. GE, no. Gold, no. GM, no. Google, if you closed it, you're right. It did. I mean, it tested right at that. It tested below it and then it held. It's a little below today, but if it rallies, there may still be a bit of hope there, a bit of technical ability to maintain. Um, yeah. Okay. Goldman, no, still overextended. Okay. GTX. Nope. Well, actually, you could argue for something here. Let's keep looking. HWM. HWM. It's. I like Caterpillar better. This is trying to hold the 100 now that it broke the 50. Okay. IBM. Is GTX disk? I'm not sure. Like what group you're saying is this in? Discretionary. Let me see. Garrett Motion is consumer discretionary. Yes. Absolutely right. Absolutely right. Okay. Howmet. No. We already went through these. Intel. Intel's getting close. IWM. Overextended. JCI. Okay, so JCI yesterday, it pulled all the way back down, and I was like, I don't know about that, but today it's giving us this. I think JCI is still in consideration. Johnson & Johnson. Oh, Johnson & Johnson is looking viable for a healthcare trade today. What else? Eli Lilly, kind of doing the same thing. It's turning down here. It's turning here. That's a maybe. Let's just go look at XLV. Not as much there. It's more of an inside day than an actual moving candle. So I'd say Johnson & Johnson looked pretty strong. Lumentum overextended. We looked at Eli Lilly. Lam Research, no. Macy's, maybe. There's one setting up. MasterCard is a no. Meta is a maybe. Microsoft, not yet. Or excuse me, Morgan Stanley, not yet. Microsoft, no. Micron, no. Netflix, no. Nvidia, no. NXT, no. Palantir, soon, but not. It's not even pulling back yet. I'd say it could be. This is the next time it pulls back. I would say this one is viable, but not yet. Right? But not yet. Okay, let's keep looking. QQQ, overextended. The Real. So this looks like it's getting ready to try to hold this support level and move. If you held through this little hiccup, this is what you're waiting for, and this is all you have time for with this thing to take off this week, and then it's do or die. We don't have time to have a trade where we get in and we're like, oh, we caught it, and then it's like, oh, wait, and we're thinking it could go It's just sort of a little dying on the vine. If it doesn't start to go from here, then all bets are off. Roku, overextended. Ross, still setting up. I would say this one is getting closer. RTX. So for me, RTX is just now trying to break this consolidation, but there's no trade for me until it gets back out here. Silver, overextended. There's nothing there. SanDisk, maybe. SoFi, maybe. Argen, let's take a look. Repligen, oh yeah, absolutely. Is this a healthcare? Repligen, seems like some kind of biotech. What are we working with here? Yes, it is healthcare. A life sciences company. Yeah. Okay. I like it. And you can see healthcare is definitely in a setup type position. STX, not yet. Teradyne, maybe coming down after a big, strong move up. Possibly looking to flag. We'll see. TJX. Pausing. Tesla, that's a possibility. Taiwan Semiconductor, not quite yet. Bullish dollars, kind of flat. The VIX, up, but very marginally up. If the consolidation we have right now is our quote unquote pullback, that'll help us for maybe a nice finish to the year. Give us a Santa rally we've been hoping for. W, no. The WBD, yes, it's there. If you haven't taken some, I would strongly advise that you consider taking at least some and tightening stops. Could go higher, could get swept up in a political situation, and then it goes from there. WDC, not yet. Walmart, maybe starting. Okay, XLs. Okay, bear with me just one moment here. Okay, let's hit the XL, see where it puts us. We got a great list. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 setups across multiple groups. Yeah. XLB, pulling, stabilizing. XLC, little bit of a... It definitely did enough that we now are fairly certain that the buyers have done what they're supposed to do, right? And get us back up here. This looks great. Minor pullback, and communication services back in favor. Energy, it's kind of chopping around, but at the highs. Financials looking better. Industrials looking better. Technology, Now, a lot of this is overextended. You can see we just made these moves. So if we were to have a minor pullback, there's nothing about that that would make us be like, oh, what's going on? We're concerned. We wouldn't be concerned about that type of a pullback at all, actually. Not even a little bit. XLP, still some momentum here in the staples. We definitely want to be a little bit careful about that. XLU, utilities are well down. XLV, not yet. XLY, consumer discretionary, yes, looking strong. Let's go back to Johnson & Johnson. Now, what would we do with this? Well, our last moves were pretty big moves here. We got this move. We got this move. This one was 175. This was about 23. No. 20. This is about 18. 17? 17 points here. And this one went from 186 to this one went 20. So 17 to 20 points. 18, 220 target, 15 points to the upside. Where would I potentially buy an option? I would imagine, without even looking, probably the 210s or the 215s. The volatility is mid, but it's mid in a tight range between 15 and 25. So let's take a quick peek. Let's just see the Decembers. Yeah, let's go out maybe to the Jan 2s, 24 days. Now, I don't have great open interest out here. But if you look at, I said the 210s. If you look at the 210s, yeah, I don't know, actually. These things don't hold up well. Maybe I'd go all the way out to the Januaries, even though it's a little further. Here you can see I've got thousands of contracts of open interest. And the spreads are okay. It's not phenomenal. But I would probably look here. You can see your 25-cent spread on a 340 option. Less than 10%. Yep. So if I'm looking for this to get up to 220, and I am, let's just say, around 201, and I give it some time. Today's the 9th. We'll go out a week. Yeah, I mean, I'm getting a good reward to risk ratio on my options here. If I just had the one contract, we're talking about 175 of risk for 830. So you're better than 4-1 on the option. So something like that seems reasonable to me. Thoughts? Yeah, that's the kind of setup I'd be looking at there. So, odds of getting a trade alert today, 50-50. Maybe we hold and we see a little turn pre-Fed. Maybe it just sort of meanders. Yeah. Okay. Thoughts, questions, comments, concerns, let me know. Otherwise, we will finish this schedule out of Glenn will be on tonight at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. I will be on at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And we will go from there. So, it's good to see everybody. We've got plenty to look at, plenty of things that you could be potentially trading. So we'll keep an eye on it. We'll see what comes our way. We'll go from there. So it's good to see you all. Have a great rest of your day. And as always, happy trading.